Excuse me. All right. Let's see. Where are we going to start today? Welcome, everybody. It's your boy Doc. It is just around 7:40 here in New York City. Big catalyst move today. Obviously, we had an election last night. SPY, catalyst move. I was going to talk about SPY today, but I want to draw your attention to the video section. Whether you're in public or you're a gold member, you'll have access to this. Brian put out a terrific video on SPY and how to use the GEX along with the election, using with his broken wing butterfly. That is the tool of choice that I've come to love under working alongside Brian. Also, the VIX divergence. This is two things that he talks about a lot, and it's a really great video. Check that out. You know, we just popped up and we held that 590. That is evident in the GEX. I'll let you watch the video, but just real quick, you can see on the 0DTE today for the SPY, 590 was selected, I guess if you will, as an area of note. See that? Had the call volume and the GEX right there. I apologize in advance for my voice. I'm still going through a lot of things. I'm on 3 different antibiotics, but we go through it anyway. I'm going to focus on two other moves today. I had a brief meeting with someone in the afternoon, and we talked about Pfizer, and he wanted to know, well, okay, following SPY, cool, get that. Can we just plug in some other equities? One of them was Pfizer. Keep in mind, you have access when you're on gold to the advanced GEX, where you can literally plug in anything that has an options table. Any ticker that has an options table will have info here. Pfizer has a strong options table, and you can get information from there. You won't get as much data to work with as you would, say, SPY or Amazon or NVIDIA, Google, Meta, Apple, Tesla, but you will get some data. And speaking of those, there was something someone always asked me, so how do you find moves? How do you find setups? And it's really easy since I've started using QTA. Is what I do is, you know, you have the indices, right? SPY, SPX, Qs, Russell. But everyone in the chat rooms focuses on that. So I try to highlight the equities: Tesla, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Meta, and Google, right? So what I do is I'll just cycle through these. Right? I'm not going to cycle through each one for the sake of brevity, but I'll just give you an idea. So what you're looking for are gaps, support, resistance, and attraction. What you want to find is the price action, which is the spot price, the yellow line here, in an area where it's either at support or at resistance, a bit of a journey to make, and then some type of attraction far enough away to make it worth your while, right? You want to, you know, in Tesla, you probably want like a 5-point move. If you're a scalper, if you move fast, if you're in and out, 2-point, 3-point move might just be just as well. But something to your personal attraction. So you want to find, so here for Tesla, we would say, okay, possibly we're looking at 290 resistance with this call volume. An attraction down here. Now, why is that attraction? Real quick, it's the absolute GEX value, the highest absolute GEX value. That's the highest liquidity. And it has this high GEX, occupying the same strike at 275. That's confluence. To me, that's a nice attraction. And we can drill down further by opening it up in advanced GEX and toggling through the call volume, the put open interest, put volume, I should say. Things like that. But just briefly, this is what you'll look for. And you can, because of the beauty, the way this feed is structured, every 15 or 16 minutes, you're going to get another snapshot of the feed. And I did not do anything with Tesla today, but let's just see how that worked out. if it gravitated toward that area or used that other strike as a resistance. You know what? It might be easier right here. Type in Tesla. So 290 was the top, and then this down to 276.50. Now, what did we say? 290 resistance, 275 was an attraction. This is, I always look for these, by the way. This is a random, what do you call it? This is going to be a side note. Hopefully it won't turn into a complete ramble. But these, especially pre-market, these look kind of innocent. Like, oh, what is that? Someone's fat finger or whatever. But usually, whenever I see this, it's just, usually it's like 8 o'clock or some hour that some institutions open up. You'll see a flush down and an instant back up to, yeah, what was that? No, that was nothing. Never mind me. And then, whoa, nothing. Sorry, nothing to see here. I'll make a note of that. I did not draw this line today. This line was already drawn, but it did flash down to it. I will make a note of it when I see it, usually like on SPY or something that moves daily. You want to be alert that it might revisit this line, right? It's not in any textbook that I know of, or it's not a rule anywhere, but it's just something that I've noticed as trading, that this is letting me know that a whole bunch of orders came through and it stopped at this particular level and flew back up to reality. And we can drill down to see how long it was there. It's probably like a nanosecond. Did I drill down too much too fast? A couple tries. A few minutes, actually. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So this is extraordinary. Not so much that it's, oh my goodness, it's just out of the ordinary. I'm using the word exactly how it's intended. Extraordinary. So I would make note of this. And this dipped down to just below 272. I'm not going to move that line. It's there for a reason. But let's remember, let's get back to basics. That was just a side note. Just look out for these, make a note of it, and then see how it trades for yourself. Don't follow what I'm telling you as gospel. Just see what it means for itself. And then technical analysis-wise, this is a pre-market low and a pre-market high. That creates your range for the day. So it's not so far out of context to make sense. The overnight, when people talk about the overnight highs and lows, during a catalyst event, you kind of have to zoom into like the pre-market, because we did the post-market from yesterday, we'd be down at 250. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but make note of this. Use your ranges technical analysis-wise of the pre-market highs, pre-market lows. And if there's nothing of interest there, use the day before. But what are we talking about? Right, so 290 was the technical analysis top, and that fit with our first wall, if you want to say that, our first spike, our first resistance, right? 290. So that's confluence here. We have one piece of data, well, actually 2 pieces of data, a little bit of an important GEX and a high call volume, coupled with the technical high, 289.96. That's 290. So we know that is going to be a resistance for a day, or we're going to assume, which we should never do, but we're going to assume today that we're going to expect, how about that that's going to be a high of the day. And on the flip side, we have this attraction down to 275. So if we're looking at this without looking at technical analysis, since the 290 is closer, we'd want a touch of the 290, a hold as a resistance, and then game's on. Hey, okay, we're coming back down. Let's join this train as it slowly tries to meander through these low GEX environments beyond this little call volume spike toward 275. It might not get there. There's a bit of a gap here. There's a bit of a gap here. It might stop at any one of these points. This point would be a good place to stop at 280. Why is that? Because the next one is a gap. The next one is low. It's a high GEX. All right, we reached it. It's a good waypoint. The next one is a bit of a gap to get down here just to jump up to there. But still, 275 is an attraction either way. So we'll follow the price down, and we happened to have the technical right here. We jumped up, hit 290-ish, ran into resistance, and then started our track down. We didn't get all the way down to 275, did we? We did. We broke 276. What is the actual number? 275.62. So we got in the 275 ballpark, and then we started back up. This was a flat day for Tesla. That move in the morning, what were you just talking about before? What's enough of a move to get you out of bed and put some money on something? By the way, what we're talking about here is all paper trading, right? Good. But get action on something. That'll be a good enough move, right? But it takes the patience and the know-how. This is 5 minutes, so if we go on a minute, and if we open up the day and we say, hey, Tesla's moving, Tesla's flying at the gate, and people would be, oh, Tesla's going to scream up. Elon was very talked about in the past few weeks, and now with the election, everyone would think, okay, Tesla's going to roar new highs, 300, here we come. But with our knowledge of the technical analysis, 290 being a resistance, and this dual data set, the call volume and the GEX being resistance. Hey, Zebra, can you hear me? We're starting. I'm recording everything, so you can see it after if your settings aren't correct. But if we knew that 290 was going to be part of a resistance there, we might hold off. We might hold off on these calls and say, you know what? If we're going to go to 300, I can wait, right? I can wait to see if we're going to break this 290 and then maybe get in. Or the other way to do it is if you got in, you'll know to get out at 290, and this will be your scalp, or your first scalp of the day. Either way, 290 is going to be a resistance. And we found that by using technical analysis and the GEX. We haven't even touched on the Quant chart. And now let's just pull it up for kicks and giggles. This is Pfizer that we were talking about earlier. We do these workshops every week. And once in a while, I'll hook up with someone one-on-one just to answer a quick question. So here we're above 2 sigma. We're in no man's land. We are in the rare territory where there are no roads. Where we're going, there are no roads. We don't need roads. But there are no lines. Thankfully, though, the intraday kicks in, and we can use those somewhat. We use the 2 sigma as support and the intraday north as the top. I'm digressing a little bit, but I just wanted to show you that how when you find something, now we have another confluence, 290, right? This is basically 289. Same ballpark, right? 289, 290. When you find 3 data sets that are telling you that a level is there, you have to respect it. Whether it holds or not is a different story, but it's just like, playing Texas Hold'em. If the odds tell you, hey, you should not do this move, then the right technical move is not to do it. Then luck can come in and change everything. So that's what makes it a fun game. But 290 held, and we raced back down toward that 275. Using that same logic, later in the day, you can scope through and find a secondary move. I had a visiting nurse in the morning, so I was kind of busy to do any intraday trading, but I noticed somewhat around 11 or so on Microsoft, as I was cycling through these, I noticed there was a bit of a potential move. Where am I? Microsoft. No, it must have been afternoon. 12 o'clock. Okay. So let's see here, 12:15. Remember, we have this resistance. Right away, we see that, right? It sticks out like a sore thumb. We have the high call volume. We have the high GEX. That's a piece of resistance. Absolute GEX, what's that? The highest level of liquidity coupled with a high GEX bar and a call volume. So not only is this an attractant because of the absolute GEX, the highest liquidity area, but it's also a bit of support, right? Support meaning the call volume, the high GEX, and the drop-off after that, right? There's no attraction for the price to continue down. And by the way, let me put a disclaimer here. This is the way I use these tools. You can talk to someone else in the community, and they would look at this and just for volatility alone. They'll say this is a positive GEX environment. Thanks very much. 420 sticks out. Close the books and move on to trade the way they trade. I dive in a little deeper, right? So you might get different ways. People use tools in different manners. So, but getting back to the way what I was looking at Microsoft is that I saw this as support, 415. It was an attraction. The price went up, touched 420. Now it came back down to the attraction, 415. Once that attraction is done, where are we going to go? Do you think we're just going to sit around here at the absolute GEX? Possibly, because it's the highest area of liquidity. That would make sense. But something else tells me that we might be traveling up. And what was that something else? That was price action. When you resort back to your basics, and Brian just made another video, not just, but it was recently, last month or so, about don't forget your basics or remember your fundamentals. And when I saw this move, we came back to 415. That held, not once, not twice, not three times, but on the fourth time, it punctured it, and it got flung right back up and gave it a test, then pushed it, and now we're using the VWAP as support rather than the 415. That was an alarm bell for me. To me, that would said, okay, we might be looking higher here. This alerted me that this was holding. It broke and then just got flung right back up, tested it and held. But now this was the alert right here. It drove me to an alert so much is that I actually mentioned it in public chat. You know, I was watching it for a few minutes, and I don't want to post it right away like, oh yeah, we're bouncing over 415, looks good, go 420, you know, close laptop. I want to make sure that this was something of value. Now, I liked it after it bounced off the VWAP, but when I really liked it to share was when it did this bull pull and then a flag. Now we have a super technical analysis pattern that we can all recognize. So we have this bounce off the VWAP, a run up, and now a bull pull above this new support, which was resistance. This is when I alerted everyone, and I told them why. Just like what we were talking about here, 420 is more than just the high of the day, right? It is also the sell zone, which is, it's not an impassable zone. It's just a zone of high resistance, mathematically. And what did I say? 420 is stressed. Oh, okay, that makes sense. 420, I thought I was going to say 420 is stressed out. 420 is stressed on multiple data points. Also, like we talked about, 420, that huge GEX area. So that's what alerted me that there could be a move. I got in halfway at 416, and then that bull pull right here, that was the last half of my position. So I went 416 to 418 half, and then 418 to 420 on full position. Now, how do you know when to get out? Well, we had that mapped out before we even entered, right? 420, that's when we all should think about calling for the check, right? This is the move we want. Now, I did mention consider taking profits at that level because the other data point being the quant, the mathematical, looks like it's stronger. I did say here above 420 is not blank of interest, meaning that there is a case that you could make that the price action continues on because it's not a total drop-off, right? Going below 415 would have been a drop-off. You see the difference here? Drop-off. And then whatever you're driving breaks. But over here, you can make a case that, oh, you know what? It's kind of a soft landing. Kind of a soft landing. It's kind of a road here. I would want more attraction higher to go any higher from here. So what if it happens later, right? What if maybe not this week, but maybe later down the line, there's more attraction. This is where you put a pin in what we're talking about, and we go to advanced GEX. After typing in Microsoft, and then we start shaving away or plucking away all the other ones. Let's just go for, I think it was the December OPEX, the monthly expiration. This is the more popular one to trade. We have 440, a strong position. Absolute GEX, that's the purple line. Absolute GEX is the highest area of liquidity. Let's put this on and make it more notable. And we have the highest GEX bar. 440 is a main attraction. 420, however, is a significant area on the negative GEX, and it's also, is it the highest or the second highest? Let's see. It's the second highest call volume. This is a significant barrier in my eyes to get across. Once we get across that 420 call volume, I'm looking at 440. And then we can cycle through some other data. Call volume, 420. Again, getting over that to get to that 440. And then we can push the carrot even higher. The open interest for calls is at 440. So people are looking higher. But the successful ones that made it to volume where both sides are full, 420 is reigning king. So you can do two plays today, right? You can have a a farther out, a month out play to the upside, and then we can look at the technicals. Apologize for the lines, but that's what I do. I draw lines. And the technicals make sense to a 430, a 440. Hang out. They had bad earnings reaction. They came crushing down. But it fell into part of a pattern, right? It's kind of a trend. It's an ugly trend. It dipped below. You can make a case it dipped below that trend, made a new lower low. But going up to 430 or 440, I think I marked off right here, by the end of November even, makes sense if it takes advantage of these bullish indicators. So we can find an entry for local and find a good entry to stick for longer term. There's other ways that go into it. If we had found on Microsoft that there's a lot of attraction lower to 390, then we can actually get a more comfortable setup. We could have had 420 as our local and then go further out and have, say, 400 as a put, as our farther out line. So now we've just hedged ourselves, right? We have that 420 if we move right away on it as the local Friday expiration. But if it doesn't, if it drops down, so be it. We have this 400 put out there. It's like a calendar diagonal. Either way, whatever you want to call it, I like when those come up, let's put it that way. But it does make sense, right? Technically, to fill this gap after earnings, get back into the trend of things, and also fulfill this high liquidity area in 440 that comes up a month from now. So this is just some ways that the more you poke around, the more data reveals itself and the more opportunities reveal itself. I tell people, screen time. The more you're looking at the bars, and just like when you learn TA, the more you look at candlesticks, the more it comes to make sense. The more price action makes sense, the more you look at it. The more you drive a car, the easier it is, right? But that's all it is. It's just overlaying three different sets of data until they make sense. And when they make sense, you pounce on it. And that's what I do. I cycle through these 7 until I find something where a move is possible. If it's significant enough, I'll alert the room. If it's a move that I think might be too risky, I won't alert. But I might or might not act on it. But that's one way to go about it. Another way to go about it, you can pop into the community and see what everyone else is trading. Gold chat, Quant chat. Or use any other tools. I know people that have come here from other Discords, in plenty of Discords, other Discords, they have other tools. Some people actually have alert services. Now, those alert services are great, but they're not all, they're not perfect. They might alert you to something that by the time you get to a computer and actually get in, it's gone. But you can back up your alerts with the QTA. You can say, oh, there's a 420 alert on Microsoft. If I was just looking at this in TA, and then No, we already hit that. We're coming down. But if I pull up QTA, yeah, 415 was a draw, but it's also support. Let's see what happens at this support. If it holds, then that 420 alert comes good or comes validated. So there's different ways to look at it, different ways to use it, and you can apply the tools of QTA to your own trading style. Now, if you guys are, anyone watching this in the future, if you're on the fence about it, use the code DNOW30. It'll give you 30% off your first month. You get access, full access. It's not a trial or anything like that. You get full access to everything that's in the gold member area. That's including all of the gamma exposure, the SPYs, the SPXs, the Qs, the Russells, those 0 DTs, the weeklies. The next week we haven't really got into, but also the, I'm not going to say it, the top 7. I'm not going to call it the Magnificent 7. I did it, fine. But you can cycle through any which ones you like. If you like trading indices on 0 DT, that's great. You can use the 0 DT and overlay it with the weekly data, just like what we did now, using Microsoft Local, using this GEX. And instead of looking up advanced GEX, just go to the next week on the SPY. Excuse me. That's like another video into itself. But I do recommend, if you have the time, it's available publicly and on the gold side. Brian put out a video today recapping what happened with the SPY and how to play it along the U.S. election. It's really good. It talks about the SPY divergence, and he talks about this broken wing butterflies, which is a champion spread. And by the way, if you like spreads, we have the option spread channel where we talk about spreads all day, every day. And they use the option strat system to convey what they're looking at. So Microsoft was the good example today on how to find entries and exits all in one shot. I knew when I was getting out before I got in. I knew what obstacles were in the way before we got to them. Right? And this is stuff you want to have ahead of time. You know, it's fun when you're young. You want to just jump in the car and you want to drive to California. That's cool. Give me a compass. We'll figure it out. But, if you're for a job, you want to have everything planned out. You want to have waypoints. You want to have, okay, we can stop here for a night to spend at a hotel here. We can travel another 12 hours 12 to here. You got to plan everything out. This is the way to plan everything out. Rather than saying, all right, we hit support. We're just going to get calls and see where we go. See if we break that 420. We can then look at the QTA tools and say, 420 would be hard to break today. So if there's any questions about this video, reach out into public chat or enthusiast chat if you're a part of that. And let me know. I'm going to do this. We try to do this every week. Sometimes I make up by having 2 in a week if someone taps me in the room and wants to go over something. So sound off in the room. I'm going to post the session here. There was a few people that I spoke to today that couldn't make it tonight. I might start doing this during market hours because it seems some people can't make it at night. But either way, thanks for watching and give me some feedback on it. Let me know what your hang-ups are about it, what your questions are about it, or what you're having trouble with, or something you don't understand, and we'll definitely tackle it. All right, but I want to thank you guys for coming down. Thank you, Zebra. And, click like and subscribe if this is going to be on YouTube. And I do apologize. I'm so out of it. I can't form words. I can't form sentences. See, but I'm getting there. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. I'll see you around.